Welcome back, part 3 in the Versailles container build. In this video we're looking at those tenons on the router table. That sounds interesting, stick around. Hey and welcome to the Woodgrafter. My name's Andy Guile. Our mission here is to inspire, educate and support you in your journey to becoming a better woodworker. We do that through a whole series of step-by-step project builds such as this one, as well as tips, techniques, questions, answers and product reviews, all designed to help you improve your skills. If that sounds good and you're not a subscriber, subscribe now, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. With that said, let's get cracking. So if you're new here, this is what we're building, a Versailles style container, 410mm high, 440mm wide. First episode, we looked at how to cut all these legs down to size, break the arris and put some chamfers on the bottom of the legs. In the second episode, we made the joinery in this one, a whole number of mortices and some dados. And today we're looking at these cross pieces, these stretchers, in particular, the tenon that fits on the end of these. I've already gone ahead and batched out all the pieces of material that we're going to need for this project. Exactly the same technique that we used in episode number 1 to give us the overall length. This time I've not worried too much about tear out on these because we're going to take this edge down to make the tenon on it. So critical on this one is that these ends here are square, not too concerned about tear out on this particular job. The other thing that's critical is every single one of these has to be exactly the same length. The technique we're going to use on the router table gives us a perfect tenon on the end at a set length. So if this piece of material was a different length than this piece of material, the tenons on both pieces would still be the same. And it's a distance between the shoulders that would vary. And if that variation goes into your final product, then your planter's not square. And what's the point of a not square planter? Exactly. I've got 24 of these, all to exactly the same length, and the reason I've got 24 of course is I'm making 3 containers at the same time. I've also cut an extra piece that I've cleverly called test, and we're going to use that to set up the joint. Now we know that the overall width of our planter is 440mm, and we know it's square all the way around, so all these distances around here are 440mm as well. We know that these are 69mm square, so I took 440 and I minus 69 for one of the legs and I minus another 69 for the other leg, and I got to a length of 302mm. We know in the legs we've cut the mortices 35mm down, 30mm long, but more importantly 20mm deep. Now I like to have a small gap between the very end of the tenon and the base of the mortise, round about 1mm, and that just gives somewhere for the glue to actually seep down to, and it just makes a nicer joint overall. And remember, it's the glue on the side walls of the tenon with the mortise that gives you the strength, not the end grain glue at the bottom. So I allowed 19mm for each of my tenons, so 302 plus 19 plus 19 is 340mm. So that's how long I've made this, allowing for the tenons. And as I said, I cut an extra one, a test piece, to allow us to set up the router table for the joint. Let's just talk about the joint for 1 second. The tenon is going to fit into this mortise. And remember what we did here, we created a mortise that was 20mm deep. And we had this channel running into that mortise that was 10mm. I have to change my mind during the production, and I'm not going for a stubby tenon, I'm going for what's known as a haunch tenon. Let's look at that. I want my tenon to start 12mm down, and we know it's going to be around about 19mm deep, so we know that's going to be the top edge of the tenon. I also want the tenon to be 30mm long, which takes me to there, but I don't want this part of the tenon to be 19mm deep. I want a small stubby piece that fits into this channel here. So this side of the tenon I actually want to make 10mm deep. So my tenon therefore will have this long length here that will stick into this mortise, and the shorter stubby tenon that will fit into here. That's known as a haunched tenon. Now the reason I want a haunch tenon is when this is assembled, probably going to be outside in spring, summer and probably autumn as well. Probably taken in for the winter period depending what plants we put in of course, but it may even be outside in the winter. Now that's going to be exposed to a lot of environmental change. Heat in summer, cold weathers in the sort of autumn, potentially frost in the spring. Therefore it's going to put a lot of strain on our tenon joints. Now the shorter that the tenon is on the end of here, the less support it's got from this long grain, and there's a potential therefore that that will start to warp and twist inside that board. What the haunch does at the end, by going into this channel, it just helps to prevent that twist. It gives me a more longer grain gluing surface, and it helps to prevent that twist. Now you might be in a situation where you're building yours to go into a conservatory, as an example, where it's a pretty consistent humidity throughout the year, and you probably don't need to worry about that. But as I was going through on the build, I was just thinking about where this is going to be used, so therefore I've decided to give myself some extra protection and put that haunch on the tenon. So with everything cut to the right length, my extra test piece in my hand, and understanding of the type of joint I want to do, the haunch tenon, let's go over to the router table and set this thing up. So I've got the basics of the router table set up. I've got a straight cut bit dropped into the router table. It's actually the same 12mm bit we've used for the mortices. I've got my fence set up in the closed position, leaving me enough gap there to clear that mortise. And I put the sliding table in place. Your table could well be using the sliding mitre. Anything that's going to give you a right angle between this surface here and your fence is what you need. The next thing I want to do, I want to set the fence up so it's 19mm from this outside cutting edge. Now the reason it's 19mm of course is because 20mm is the depth of our mortise, and we want that 1mm clearance in the bottom for glue. Now if you use the Incra fence like me, it's quite easy to set this up. I find the outside cutting edge of this bit there, rest a straight edge on it, and bring up the fence, the Incra fence, to that straight edge, lock it in position, and then just use the incremental adjuster to fine tune that, like so. So I now know that this cutting edge here is lined up perfectly to this front fence. I can now zero that in on the scales inside the Incra fence and then set that to 19mm, and I know that's going to be bang on. If you don't have that facility on yours, you can measure it using a caliper. Go through the same process, zero your fence to the cutting edge, bring in a caliper and just zero that in, and then simply slide the fence back until 19mm is on the caliper gauge. 19.02 is near enough, and then lock your fence into position. You now have a 19mm cut set up, and that's going to dictate the length of the tenon on your joinery. Now you remember that when we made the mortises they were 12mm wide. It was set by the same straight bit we're doing now. Actually it's 12.7mm, but 12 is near enough for the conversation. This piece of material is actually 37mm wide. Let's assume that was 36. So when we come to cut this tenon, we're going to be cutting 12mm off one side and 12mm off the other side. So 12mm either side is going to be taken off by the bit. If we come directly in now and set the bit to a height of 12mm, we're going to get incredible tear out on the shoulders on this piece of material. That tear out I do care about because that will show on the final product. So the first cut I'm going to make on the router table for every single piece is a small scoring cut. And that small scoring cut is just going to take less than 1mm off these surfaces, and just to give me a nice clean shoulder line. And once I've got that shoulder line in place, I can then work down to the final fit of the joint. Let's look at that scoring joint. So I'm now going to lower this bit right down so it's below the table. And then taking my material, I'm just going to rest it on there, and I'm going to bring up the bit so it's just resting on the surface of the material, which is about there. Did you see that lift up ever so slightly? Watch the wood. Just lifted it, just there. See that's lifting? And I'm looking for quite a small lift there. Now if you go too heavy at this point, you're going to get this tearing on this edge. That very small amount is going to allow me to define the shoulders. Now I'm still working on my test piece. I'm not going through the main piece of material just yet. The technique we use here, come in with your mitre fence and ensure that that is a perfect right angle to your reference fence here, and ours is. And now I'm going to take small passes. I'm going to take a pass move the material in, take a pass, move the material in, take a pass, and I'll keep doing that until this edge is resting on the fence. And at that point, that shoulder is set 19 millimeters in and is well defined, and in theory should be clean. Like always, because I'm going across the grain here, there's a chance there's going to be tear out on this edge. So we use a scrap piece of wood to protect ourselves. You also want to make sure that that flat piece of wood is parallel, and that should also be square to the edge, and it is. And now I can go ahead and make that pass. And hopefully you can see what that's done there is made that very, very shallow shoulder line. And that's defined that, and that's beautifully clean and crisp with no tear out in it. So I want to make that cut all the way round, so I'll now just rotate this and make the cuts on all the surfaces. And you should now have this nice clean crisp line all the way around the outside, and all these corners should line up perfectly, and in our case it has. Now the final thing is I just want to check, is this really 19 millimeters or not? So I can come in with a trusted measuring rule, rest it on that shoulder, and that is now coming in at about 18.9 millimeters. That's good enough for me. So I now want to make that cut on the end of every single piece. Define the shoulder on every single piece, all of these. I'll do that, we'll come back together and look at the next step. There you go, 48 shoulders cut on 24 pieces of material. Not too bad. Took about 20 minutes, a bit repetitive, but that's well worth doing it that way rather than rushing into the final depth, because it gives you a much cleaner shoulder line. So now we need to start to think about the depth of cut to give us that fine fit into our mortices. Let's look at that. So the first thing I want to do is to double check the width of this channel. We're assuming it's 12, but we do know that the router bit is 12.7 millimeters, so let's just check what we actually ended up with. And here I'm actually coming in at 13, just under 14, probably about 13.7 millimeters on the width of the channel, which means we now need to bring this mortise down to that 13.7 millimeters. Now we know that this overall is 37, and we know that wants to be 13.7, so we're going to try and come in at 14 first of all, because that should be a tight fitting joint. So 37 minus 14 divided by 2, so 11.5 millimeters. So we'll raise the bit up to about 11 millimeters and make a test cut in our scrap piece of stock and try it for fit, and then we'll slowly creep up to the final thickness, and then that's good to go. Now I'm going to use exactly the same technique. I'm going to come in with our scrap piece of material, test written on it, and I'll do the same thing. This time I don't need the backer board because I've already defined that shoulder. The shoulder's not going to tear out, so I can now just come straight through and make this cut. Let's give it a go and see how it looks for fit. In theory, this should be too fat by a little bit, and we need to fine tune it, which is what we're looking for. And I can start to see the tenon appearing. We've got these lovely clean shoulder lines, and you can see that's oversized, which is what we were looking for. So we need to take, what's that, about 1 millimeter off either side of this to bring that down to the right thickness. And we'll raise by about 3/4 of a millimeter and see what it looks like. It's closer, but it's still too wide. And there you go. And that's what I'm looking for, a joint that can come together really quite easy by hand pressure and holds together. Now if you remember the joint that we're doing, I want to take one end of this off by round about 12 millimeters. And although that's not exactly 12 millimeters, it's round about 12 millimeters, and that's near enough for us. So the technique we're going to use is I will take a pass, I will then take a pass on one end, and then I'll take a final pass across here, but I will not take this end off here, and we will use that to create the haunch as a final step. So I'll go ahead and batch out all my pieces here to this stage, including that other cut we've just spoken about. We'll come back together and look at the haunch. That's pretty much it. All these are cut to length, and I've got the start of the tenon. Next episode I want to look at this channel inside here. We'll look at how we're going to make that, and then how we're going to turn these into a small haunched mortise. I'll see you next time.